particularly the three of us in the last few weeks, is they're checking to, at this point, they tried quarantine where they ignore you.
Yeah.
That clearly hasn't worked in the last two election cycles. It backfired horrendously. So they sent the word out quarantine won't work. We're going to have to directly inoculate and engage them, which is what they're doing now. Here comes the problem. The problem is we ain't a bunch of puppet niggas.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a bunch of people trying to figure out what the problem is. And we're telling you what needs to be done. And what they're trying to do is shame us into not asking for it. Because that's what they've always done, is say that you're wrong for even wanting anything.
Exactly.
They're trying to shame us and say, you need to come vote, you need to come work, you need to come keep us in power, but you don't have to work, you don't have to ask for, you don't have the right to ask or expect anything while everybody else gets something. This is just slavery all over again.
Exactly. There's this one woman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They've been really promoting her very heavily. She won some kind of seat out there in New York, as you guys know. On Martin Luther King's birthday, she was at some church with Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think that's how you pronounce that guy's name. And they started talking about reparations. And I want to play what she said.
Hold on. Reparations for slavery. But really, economically speaking, reparations are for the damage done by the New Deal and redlining. Because that is where we saw a compounding of the existing inequity from the legacy of slavery, where we drew red lines around Black communities and we said white communities will get home loans and they'll get access to the basic bedrock of wealth in America. And this is the thing that this will be your heirloom. And we gave white America an heirloom that appreciated over time, that people still benefit from today, and we did not give that to African American, Mexican communities, Puerto Rican communities. And
all right, did you guys catch that?
She slept at the end there. She's gonna slide in everybody else. We're talking about slavery, which only affected Black people, and then say that the remedy needs to be spread around to everybody else. So we are the aggrieved party. We are the affected party. And yet she's going to use that as a vehicle to help people who were not affected. And not only were they not affected, when we talk about slavery, several of the groups she named were the ones who were complicit in doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's always the same old grandfather clause. Everybody's trying to grandfather clause themselves into whatever Black people are supposed to have. Affirmative action. Well, we're going to grandfather clause white women in. How? White women raised all these white men. They've been benefiting. They're the wives and the daughters and the mothers of all these racist white men. Well, they didn't have the right to vote. Well, whose fault was that? And then when it comes time to talk about reparations, Cortez is like, I'm all in favor of it so long as the Mexicans are in there. She named three groups: African Americans, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans. Out of the three groups, two of them are Hispanic. So what does that tell you about her thought process? If Black people are going to get something, well, Hispanics should get most of it. This is your Black-Brown alliance, folks. This is your Black-Brown alliance.
Absolutely. And I try to tell people about immigration. How has immigration in the last 50 years helped Black Americans at all? How has it helped us?
It's helped reduce us to a below slave labor class. It's helped us do that. It's helped us into the poorhouse permanently. It's helped us into that. Dr. Claude Anderson said it decades ago, and he was right. They brought in all of these non-Black immigrants, legally or otherwise, for the purposes of supplanting us as the country's labor force. That you were never going to truly integrate us. You certainly didn't want to, because you take a threat with us. Even if we as Black people don't see it this way, you've got to understand and see yourself through white society's eyes. White society is terrified of the idea of empowering Black people. Empowering Asians does not frighten them. Empowering Mexicans and Arabs does not frighten them. Empowering Black people frightens them for one fundamental reason. It is not genetic annihilation. It is because they are deathly afraid that if we are empowered, then it's going to be payback time. As far as they are concerned, in the back of their minds, Black people want power so we can take vengeance. Because they know that we deserve it. Now, let's just be very clear about where the fear emanates from. The fear emanates from the idea that you know that we have been dealt with unjustly and still are. And if anybody is deserving of retribution, it's us. So the idea of empowering us terrifies them. It terrifies them to their core. So if you're moist, if you're weak, if you're lame, if you got daddy issues, if you hate your father, if you hate black men, if you hate black women, if you don't care what the black family looks like, if you're more concerned about shoes than survival, if you're more concerned about sexual acts.